Now let's continue this before my computer decides to crash again. First, if anything happens, explanations for each form of deku has titles are self-explanatory, meaning that, parts or things that Izuku might gain are different from the anime and in strength and everything else. Human form, or more aligns human power that he has while still in his human body. Well, still human, but, breaking the limiters, or on the verge of breaking his limiters of the human body contained with spiritual pressure that the body can hold, of course. Would be human form, which is number 1, soul, which would be number 2, basically a soul that basically is able to linger and, do some tiny things like, let's say, little mini beams of some sort. Not that powerful at all. And then Shinigami, when he gains, the soul would be him lingering on, more lines, the more he becomes a soul, or wanders as a soul, the more power he basically absorbs from, other entities. Now we go to Shinigami, which is, becoming a soul that has abilities. Self-explanatory. Now we go to Bankai, which is basically Shinigami, but trained to the point where he can master it, equaling a Bankai and giving him a new form. Now we go to Stolen Power. After his human form has, of course, been destroyed, he would no longer, he would technically still be human, but more lines, the replacements, his power he has stolen, will start to more lines replace the parts that, he lost in battle. Stolen Power, Human Holification, meaning that his body is going under holification, but more lines replacing the limbs he lost in battle. 6, Holification. 7, Hollow, where basically the amount of power he absorbs is too much for his body to handle, inevitably becoming a hollow. And Vizard, basically, even though in all that madness and hunger for power of a hollow, you can find peace, and after finding peace, you can become a Vizard, and Vizard basically is a mastered hollow, as you all know what a Vizard is. But this version of a Vizard is clearly weaker, of course. Now, Holification or Hollow level 2, meaning that even after to gain even more power, he must become a hollow once more, and basically find rage and peace inside all that anger and rage for another time into Vizard level 2. Vizard level 2 is, of course, the same thing as Vizard, controlling the powers of the hollow and finding true peace. And after that is, of course, Vestalorde. Vestalorde is basically the limits of what the human body can basically go to. For a human, of course. After you beat Vestalorde, or more lines gain Vestalorde, your body starts to permanently turn into a hollow. Even if, some say otherwise, in this story, as soon as you become a hollow, it's permanent. You get what I mean. Anyways, we go to Hell's Borrow Power. This is from the filler when he went to Hell, or Ichigo went to Hell, and gained the abilities of Hell that, he earned from Hell. Basically getting the Kashinada, and then after the Kashinada, he's able to train the borrowed power into the Dangai, and after the Dangai, after you finish, mastering the Dangai, you become the final Getensho. Basically, it is the One Mode. The One Mode, instead of your life force, technically it's just still your life force, but more lines, it's his full power. Or more lines, all the power he has stolen over the, while. After this power is, taken out of him, he basically gets reborn as his body deconstructs and basically turns into dust, putting him in Huecas, I think, was it called Huecas Mundo? Yeah, I think it was called Huecas Mundo. I think it was wherever the Rancor spawn, basically. After that, there'll be his own power awakening, basically in Huecas Mundo and the other dimensions, where he starts to train on his, actual powers himself instead of his stolen power, which has been fully absorbed into him, becoming his permanent power. Inevitably, this would turn him into a half hollow, half human, 50% human, and 50% permanent hollow. This would grant him full bring, which is basically, his reborn power. Full bring perfection after, training with full bring and basically, gaining the rest of the power you have, becoming more One Piece like a Rancor or one of the Espada. After that, you become full bring Shikai, actually gaining your sword. Oh yes, if you're wondering, before the Shikai, you're only able to use hands. So yeah, as you get the Shikai, you gain the sword, and when you gain the sword, you train with it for a bit until you master your own sword. You learn its name and all that. After that, you gain the full bring Bankai. After that, you're able to exceed your full potential. At least Izuku's full potential. After that, he becomes full percent hollow, or more lines a permanent hollow. Yes, he may more lines look human, but he's definitely hollow. He's no longer human. So meaning, even if he does somehow enter back into the overworld, or the world of the living, he will still look like a hollow, or more lines what you see here. Midori would no longer have, colored skin, more lines of, very white skin with white hair and what what he is. After that, he would gain the power of the own full power for full complete hollow, which is 2 forms alone, being 19 True Zanpakuto, meaning he is fully mastered and has been a long enough to fully understand the concept of hollow, and basically becoming something similar to the, I think, Hollow King, his name was, or Soul King, sorry, or getting exact equal to what he has. Not seeing all future. Instead of seeing all futures and possibilities, he would see all emotions and basically understand anything and everything. And then is the final form, which is Horn of Salvation, basically meaning that he's not holding back at all. Like, his full power's already, there, and after the Horn of Salvation, there's no higher he can go unless, he wants to train someone, which is, kind of basically impossible by now. After becoming a full hollow, complete hollow, he no longer can go into any other of his other forms. Meaning when he's out of True Zanpakuto, he can't really become, anything else because as soon as he unlocks his True Zanpakuto, he's stuck like that. And after the Horn of Salvation, he's not stuck like that, but more lines, Horn of Salvation is basically, if the True Zanpakuto isn't, strong enough, he can use the Horn of Salvation. The Horn of Salvation is basically all of his hollow powers into one, plus his Bankai, giving him full control of his abilities, and giving him all of the abilities he had before, and more. And as long as you yourself are less determined or less willpower than him, basically like the struggles of one for all and all for one, as long as, basically at this point, there's like very little people who can actually stop Deku at the Horn of Salvation at this point. Basically being like, I'll say like maybe 5 to like 1% of like the entire universe can actually stand him at this point. Not to mention, that's not even that, but he can, he can still attack you well, all that. Not to mention, spiritual pressure's a thing. So even if you are weaker, you still can't attack him. It just won't affect you, because they're still weaker than him. Even if it's a strong attack, since he has more spiritual pressure than you, basically, you messed up. Like, there's like, you can't attack him at Horn of Salvation. You may have a chance at True Zanpakuto, but definitely not Horn of Salvation. I'll say the only person who can actually attack him there is maybe if some other people that I might bring in that attack him. Somebody similar to, let's say, like, what was his name? What was his name? The awesome dude. What was his name? Sangetsu? No, not Sangetsu. Kampachi, yeah. Someone awesome as Kampachi. Or, Kampachi's Bankai. Full power Bankai, specifically. Kampachi's Bankai allows him to basically lose all of humanity in force or power. And not besides that, but there's one other person who can actually match them two, which is I think the 5th Division Captain. Which I believe is the one with the healing capabilities. She was the original Kampachi, since, I can't leave out OGs, so, she's also one. And if, I don't add them, people from Bleach, then I might as well add characters from My Hero to more lines, increase their power. I may increase power depending on what the situation is. It may decrease power, or more lines buff or debuff anybody I so choose to basically continue the story. So, yeah. Also changing the strength and how to obtain the abilities in order of the forms. We are also ordered the weakest to strongest. In order the weakest to strong. Sorry, okay, there we go. Also, Zuko would still be... Okay. He would technically be confirmed quirkless at the age of 4. But you would see that his joints are there, meaning that he does have the DNA of Zet's quirk. And will not gain one for all. At all. Because if this man was given one for all, that's basically having 4 horns of salvation. We don't need that. Anyways. Breaking reincarnation. Breaking reconstructing his body to the absolute limit beyond a human capabilities. That is what Midori does, besides, I'll say crying and whatnot. So even as a child, instead of crying at the All Might screen, he begins to work out and basically reconstruct his body to the point where it's inhuman or basically beyond any human comprehension of muscle mass. Basically becoming something similar to, I'll say, Yujiro Hanma strength. Or something similar to it. Surpassing still being in Class 1A only by pure skill, intellect, and tactility. Meaning it's his brains, how fast he can observe and comprehend fighting styles and other things like that. Basically anything that involves, quirks or anything. He knows, basically knowing with Midori's intellect, he can basically find your, weakness on the run as he's fighting you. Just in one battle. Unlike, Ichigo, which is, gets one loss and, basically wins the next time. Which, while mid-fight, Midori would find your weakness and use that weakness to his own advantage. Not just that, but learning how to increase his strength to be in order to defeat you. Oh, that's a lot to say. Sorry for that. So basically, meaning he's basically compared to everyone else is Yujiro Hanma. Or at least, I wouldn't say that powerful yet, but I'll say at least inhuman, like Baki character strength. So basically pretty flippin' powerful, even as a normal person. No matter how hard he pushed his body beyond limitations, he seemed that the quirk somehow never manifested. So he just presumed himself to be quirkless and that, basically to just move on with his life without a quirk. And so the quirk never manifested, even though it showed the genes of the quirk still inside of him. As his mother was said, he would just be a late bloomer, but as he lost hope for it, he wouldn't care for the quirk. Inko also blames herself for Hisashi leaving due to Deku seeming not having a quirk at the age of 4 to 5. Regardless, if it was an active quirk or not, more or less, Hisashi would abandon him. Also, the sludge villain accident wouldn't happen. Dagobah Beach will be cleaned by All Might and Mirio, and at the entrance exam, Deku wouldn't trip due to how he is. He's not shy or anything like that. He's he's not... How should I say this? What's the best person that I see? He's like Hollow Ichigo a little bit. or like Ichigo, like a controlled Hollow Ichigo. When, Hollow Ichigo's in, control, but, he's still able to be controlled at the same time. So more aligned to tamed Hollow Ichigo. Or more aligned, just a very calm personality. Just a bit more serious than his canon personality. So I'll say a little bit lower than Vigilante Deku's personality. A little bit lower than that. Still very caring and loving, just, when it's time to fight, he gets serious. So you don't want to mess with him. As you would notice, looking at the entry exam, you would notice that there would be someone being shy, not just that, but anxious about the event of the entry exam. While in the entry exam, he would try and comfort a brown-haired girl that is anxious, and after that, the girl would ask what his quirk is. That person would say, so, what's your quirk? As Izuku would say, I don't have a quirk. Sorry about that. Or at least an inactive quirk, or a dormant quirk. As the girl with brown hair would walk in disgust after basically calling Midoriya basically quirkless. Or at least as equal as a quirkless person, as she would have a face of disgust in her eyes. As she would say, basically a quirkless person, I don't think we will be seeing each other anytime soon. Walks away in disgust, basically. As Midoriya would be like, this bitch, basically. Man, I think that was all I had for my notes. That was so weird. Being honest, I think that's a bit better than most of my what-ifs. Anyways. Yeah. After Midoriya be gaining strength, he would more or less just kind of look around, make it into Class 1A at the time. Entering that Class 1A, him acing most of, if not every part of the exams, as Bakugo would be his thing. He's like, hey, you had a quirk here, blah, 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 blah. It's not a quirk, Bakugo. It's how much I trained since the age of 4 to 5. Or, sorry, 5 to 4. Or 5 to, so on. Plus years. As people will see the amount of bruises, cuts, and just everything around Midoriya's body that he's been trained for. They would see he's very lean, or more like muscular and lean. Like he's built like, not built like Yujiro, but built like a athlete, like a very good athlete that works out like most of their body parts, or basically all of their body parts. Strength, speed, everything. All of their, sights, including intellect as well. As people would try to talk trash, hey, that dude's gonna get creamed, he has no quirk. As he would basically just diss off, like, anybody who tries to, bother him, or, say, hey, where's the Crocus dude doing here? As basically Midoriya would just, like, leave me alone. As after that would happen, the more things that would happen is hold up, let me see what I had next. Hold up. Also, by the way, before I continue, he did not wait for anybody to hold up. Good milkshake. Anyways, he did not wait for anybody to begin. He kind of just immediately just got into the zone or the entry exam station and just dashed, like, immediately. Okay, hold up, let me read my notes real quick. Also, if you're wondering, he's very durable, like inhuman durability. He can punch something, and it would give no damage. Or at least very little damage, like metal and other things like that. Like the 0-pointer, 1-pointer, 2-pointer, and 3-pointers. He would avoid the 0-pointer, though. Still saving the girl, that's kind of in the rubble, but, regretting it a lot. Also, he gets, I'll say 140. Why not? Yeah, 140 points. Next. Sorry if I'm pausing. It might happen a while since I have notes now. I might, continue, pause, read, pause, and then continue. Also, if things might change rapidly, like forms or what he achieves to gain these Z forms. Yeah. Different advantages that have people in the living would be, continued in, what they are as a soul. So, like, if they have a quirk or whatever they trained as a quirk, they'll still have that. Just more lines. Be a soul. So, yeah. Now we go in depths to the exams, or more like the quick examination. The minds dashes, the strength obliterates, the jump pretty decent, since he is pretty high in jumps. He gets pretty decent high score. If not, he gets the best scores in the class. Not in any individual era, but he still gets great. So he basically, with all those great scores, he would get number 1 in the class. Most definitely. Oh yeah, if you're wondering. The Heroes vs. Villains. Yeah, that goes very, it goes like canon, but not as what you think. So a little different. Yeah, Bakugo does do, he still does the, gauntlets and whatnot, pulls the pins and whatnot. The only difference is that Izuku's still there. Like, everything, like, he's, like, hanging on to dear life. But, he's still there. And, after getting back consciousness, he basically gives, Bakugo that 1-2 combo. That 1-2-3-60 the Lux combo. Basically beating Bakugo, since Bakugo was told not just that, but due to both of his gauntlets being broken, he would get just pounded by Midoriya. Like, off bat, like, just pounded. Since he's in an isolated area, if he tried to do his explosions, it would also affect him too, basically having both of them trapped under the rubble. So, yeah. If you're wondering, by the time that explosion happened, he had the ability to Moraline to become a soul for a few seconds, and that's how, he gained the ability to still come back to life. Since his body wasn't in too bad of a shape, Moraline's the blunt force trauma due to the explosion did knock him, kind of, out of his body, technically. He, since his body wasn't in too bad of a shape, he would just return to his body. And well, for the, I'll say, rescue. No, hold up, rescue. No, there's the bomb, I think. No, hold up. There's chronic examination. Here's the villains. I think. Wait, no, class 1B would interfere after the USJ. So after the USJ, Midoriya with more lines at the USJ, Midoriya would be pounded to basically just out-believable, just out cold. After being beat up to severe near death, Midoriya would get a glimpse of light. He would touch this light and see it engulf him in darkness instead, being confused as the light will be consumed by darkness. in this darkness, he would awaken, and basically all people would see is an explosion. You know, I'll say there are also dust due to the amount of times he was being pounded by the Nomu, as they would see dust, and basically, I'll say at the same time, All Might came, punched the Nomu, but before he punched the Nomu within seconds, the only thing that happened was Midori basically shooting its head off. With, the Shinigami powers, I believe. The Shinigami, yeah. Actually, no, I'll say he achieved 2 forms. And, his glowing eyes. Before that, he still got bounded near death. But, when he and the Nomu were fighting, or more lines, when All Might and the Nomu were fighting, Midori was like, I can't die here. Or more lines, he kind of got up and basically got angry. And, bad guy. Basically. Or more lines, he didn't say it, but you gave him, a bit of power of the bad guy. Making that individual having All Might enough time to actually, beat the Nomu and shoot it up to the air. Midoriya, after achieving this power, would faint back to his, mindscape. And basically would sleep. After that, what would happen? Midori would, at this point, be in the hospital due to fighting the Nomu, and basically everyone in the hospital. After everyone in the hospital, the next thing that would occur is the first training arc. Now, I'll say he's getting his Shinigamis at the USJ and gain his... I had them in my notes here. Where were they? It was... What was his first form? First form was human. Second form was... Soul. Okay, so he technically fell back. He turned into a soul when Bakugo came, or Heroes vs. Villains, turned into a Shinigami when the Nomu beat him half to death, and basically at the... hold up. Shinigami. And at the USJ, he would become a Shinigami. After the first training arc, he would unlock his Shikai. After that, what's after the thing? Oh yeah, saving Bakugo again. After Mamoru Yaoruzu would have the chip, he would not be allowed to actually interfere, so he would go on his own terms and go and basically try to find Bakugo himself, feeling this presence of anger. Not anger, but, presence of sadness and being scared. Or, whatever Bakugo was feeling in the moment when he was captured. I'll say, Dabi. I'll say Dabi was about to cremate him until, this is where he is. As right as Midoriya showed up, he would get his Bankai. And, the entire All Might versus All For One fight would occur. That would occur, not just that, but while Midori interfering, he would, accidentally bump into his Bankai and give, one for all that quick 1-2 before getting knocked out cold by All For One. All For One. And, All Might won due to the interference of Midoriya by a slip and slide. So, yeah. After that would happen, there would be the, I think, overhaul. I don't know what state. Hold up. Stain arc. Did I miss the stain arc? Hold up. What was... No, I'll say the stain arc now happened. Oh, yeah. I forgot the... I'll say the stain arc already happened. That's how he unlocked his, full power of the Shini... I think... Shikai. He unlocked it during the Shikai. a stain arc, and then after that would be everything else, and then inevitably the sports festival, which he'll still be in the Shikai Armor Lane, Shikai Bankai, and inevitably All Might and One for All fight, One All for One, and All Might fight would continue, gain his Bankai after all that training he did for the sports festival, and basically we end up in the overhaul arc, I believe. In that overhaul arc, Midoriya and more lines be he would be going to, I think, Ryoko's agency. Yeah, I'll say he goes to Ryoko's agency with Nidre. Nidre and him get along after, the... Hold up. I forget what it's called. But their training session, basically. Of being a part of the agency. I can't remember what it's called, but I'm going to continue the story. As that would happen, he and Nedry get actually very close and actually start dating. After that, the overhaul arc, Nedry would be on the top of a roof as there would be a giant explosion. And after that explosion, there would be a very, very sad sight. Nedry getting there, she would see a horrifying sight of Overhaul's hand inside of Midoriya's chest. Midoriya tried to save Eri, and as soon as that happened, a hole went straight through his chest. See, this is what you get for being heroes. This is what you get for playing Hero Kid. I told you. Heroes will no longer be part of my new world. As basically the 8 bullets show up, as Ryoko's also there fighting the 8 bullets, basically having trouble with them, Nedry as well, and basically both of them getting slammed to near death. After this, we go to a very dark area. No, it wasn't supposed to end like this. Wake up, wake up, wake up! As he can hear in his head something. Do you want power? Do you want the ability to save those around you? Do you want to save everyone in this world from corruption? Do you want to become a hero? As in within that, there be a hollow sound, a beam of light shooting in the air. As there be helicopters and everything searching around the 8 bullets, the 8 bullets will try to get the helicopters away. As you'll be on the news. As they would all see a bright light, everyone being surprised and feeling a very ominous and evil presence. Darkness within light, being consumed. They'll feel no happiness, no hesitation. They'll feel absolute horror. They'll feel scared and almost wanting to run away. But due to their curiosity, they would wait and sit, wanting to look what's in the smoke. As within that smoke, as you would hear the sound. Hold up, let me get it real quick. Where was it? Here we go. Sorry if it's taking so long. Let me put this right here real quick. And, okay, let's hurry on. Okay, now let me quickly take off my headphones real quick. Put this on, and this is all you would hear. 3, 2, 1. Basically, that's basically what you hear. Everyone will be frightened by this ominous scream. It will be more or less of a scream for help than anything. You will just feel the dark presence emanating. You can feel this energy, dark energy, as you can see the shine of just bloodlust out of this creature. This deal Midoriya has made would have something enter into this world that should have never been entered to begin with. Something so powerful, it can destroy the fabric of reality. As then, within a blink of an eye, you can see something dash forward. The cameras will try to get a pinpoint at it, but wouldn't be able to catch it until they see a building. The two people, or more like the four people that were basically holding down Nijiri and, Ryoko, were gone. Their bodies on the floor. No one will know what would happen. As the cameras would look and see the figure with almost an ominous mask, some sort of mask to cover its face, as if its face is the mask. And these eyes, hollow, black eyes. These hollow black eyes. As the dust starts to settle down, they would see 4 ball-like substances in his hands, dangling and dripping with some sort of water of some kind. They would try and focus, and as soon as they did, the cameraman would also barf. As like, what are those? Are those bowling balls? Or are those? They look some sort of soccer balls. As the cameraman will point out, they're as the person filming this would throw up their heads. Their heads. As 4 of the 8 bullets were decapitated simultaneously, with no heads to be left. The rest of the 8 bullets tried to fight back, but what they were fighting was something monstrous. It gave nor remorse for human emotions, nor pain. It seemed to slowly enjoy the pain and suffering of others. Attacking them, hearing their cries for help, as he mercilessly rips them apart as they scream and yell, "Please, no, sorry, no, let me go." They'll be torn apart and eaten by this creature. As within seconds, the beam of light would return, and Midoriya would be there. As his body would be standing up and now unconscious, falling back unconscious. Everyone would be surprised. And that is when I'll end this video. Thank you for watching Hollow Deku. And I'll return with part 2 of Huggy Wuggy Deku. And I'll see you all later.